Hey fantasy football fans, I'm the Fantasy Football Girl and this is Secret Weapons, the show that keeps your fantasy team and football talk on target. Because let's be honest, if you want to get a decent bird for Turkey Day, you have got to get on that now. So if you're looking for a few key fantasy tips or some NFL related talking points, so you can spend the weekend shopping for an ultra chic pair of elastic waistband pants while also nabbing the last box of Stovetop, instead of spending hours online prepping for Sunday's matchups, then this is the show for you. Most of you have heard me talk up Philip Rivers' bust potential since the preseason. But since he had a big game in Week 10 versus Tampa Bay, I want to make sure to warn fantasy owners against riding what they think might be the hot hand in Week 11. This Sunday, the Chargers QB will travel to Mile High Stadium to take on the Denver Broncos. Not only is Denver's pass defense much better than Tampa Bay's, the Broncos are ranked at number 11, whereas the Bucs are dead last in the league at number 32. But back in Week 6, the Broncos sacked Rivers 4 times and forced him to turn over the ball a whopping 6 times. Given how easily Rivers has been flustered this season, I'd steer clear. With both of Oakland's lead running backs, stud Darren McFadden and his backup Mike Goodson, playing the part of booty buddies on the sidelines and expected to sit out the Raiders' Week 11 matchup versus the New Orleans Saints, fullback Marcel Reese should have a bomb-tastic game on Sunday. In fact, he might be the best thing about the Raiders' offense right now. Last week versus the Ravens, he was targeted a team-high 9 times by quarterback Carson Palmer. Of those 9 targets, he caught 7 balls and added 13 rushing attempts for a total of 104 all-purpose yards. Plus, the Saints are giving up the second most fantasy points to opposing running backs, an average of 22 points per game. If you were lucky enough to scoop Reese up last week, or if he's still available on the waiver wire in your league, go ahead and start him with bomb-like expectations. The Colts tight end Dwayne Allen has been spotty since fellow tight end Coby Fleener has been out with a shoulder injury. Allen surprised in Week 9 versus Miami, but wasn't able to continue with that momentum in Week 10 versus the Jags. And that is precisely why he's a bonus rather than a bomb in Week 11. With Fleener out for his 3rd straight game, I think Allen should get plenty of looks from his quarterback Andrew Luck. Moreover, in Week 11, the Colts will draw the New England Patriots, who are giving up the 4th most fantasy points, an average of almost 10 per game, to opposing tight ends. I like the matchup, so assuming Allen can get it together, he is a bona fide bonus. Anyone who watched last Sunday night's game between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears were not only bored out of their ever-loving minds, but could also see that the playing surface at Soldier Field was an absolute mess. It was raining, players were slipping, there were plenty of turnovers, and Bears quarterback Jay Cutler was, once again, concussed. Now, I'm not sure if those last 2 things had anything to do with the field conditions, but Bears kicker Robbie Gould certainly had an opinion on things. This past Tuesday night, Gould griped about the field, saying that it was really bad, tore up, and had sunk to a new level. The Chicago Park District, which is responsible and pays for all maintenance and repairs to the natural grass surface, did not take kindly to Gould's words, saying his statements were ridiculous and basically calling him a pain-in-the-butt whiner. Apparently, the Bears organization got to Gould because he later issued a statement apologizing to the Park District for his off-the-cuff remarks. Things seem to have been smoothed over for now, and let's hope it stays that way because Robbie Gould is my fantasy kicker, and heading into the playoffs, I need every point I can get. In this special edition of Oh, How the Mighty Have Fallen, it appears as though former New York Giants all-time leading rusher and 3-time Pro Bowl running back Tiki Barber is so hard up for cash that you can hire him to play on your intramural flag football team. Oh, and for the rock-bottom price of just $1,950 per game. SI.com is reporting that Barber and his athletic abilities are this week's special on UrbanDaddy.com. The deal site appeals to potential takers by explaining that they'd get, and I quote, Tiki Barber for an afternoon of flag football. Once purchased, all you'd have to do is simply tell him your preferred when and where, and he'll be on your team, or the other team, if you feel like a challenge. Oh, and in case football wasn't your thing, the writers at Urban Daddy are quick to point out that Tiki also excels at badminton and dodgeball. Oh gosh, did you hear that? It's the sound of pride crumbling. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Secret Weapons, and I'm the Fantasy Football Girl reminding you to always win big.